this on Thursday morning. So the Telegraph news about a possible vaccine shortage is a lead story in the Daily Telegraph. Government sources have told the paper that manufacturing issues mean the existing supply will largely be used for second doses.
The Guardian's also leading on vaccination shortages, which it says have been branded disappointing and frustrating by the Royal College of GPs.
Let's have a look at the Daily Mail, reporting on plans by the Home Secretary Priti Patel to process asylum seekers in special centres overseas if they cross the Channel illegally.
And the New York Times takes a detailed look into the murders of 8 people in Atlanta, Georgia. The paper reports that the killings have raised fears of hate crimes against American Asians. Got a couple of animal stories for you. If you're in Great Orme, beware of the Kashmiri goats. So they're quite famed there to go down into the town and cause a little bit of havoc, really. But there was a plan to... there was a slight idea that mass contraception would be applied to keep the numbers down, but because of the pandemic, this hasn't happened. Yeah, it hasn't happened. So they've been breeding like goats. And they're now venturing into this North Wales resort and causing a little bit of havoc. So if you go, when you're allowed, if you get down there, apparently there's a rogue herd that's wandered into the area. Literally, drivers come around the corner and be faced with 8 or 9 goats in the road.
Did you say they're breeding like goats? But they are goats, aren't they?
And then there's also, right, a story about cows, which has really amused me. You have to read the whole thing. They're breeding like goats. It was a play on words, Charlie. Craig Brown has written this piece in the Daily Mail. And he says that he's looking at some odd practices that have seemed to have emerged. Now, in Holland, you could do a co-nuffelen. A co-nuffelen.
Where, geographically in the world, where are we?
Holland. Holland. I like the sound of the word because that's where you can hug a cow. And in the United States, farms charge anything up to $75 an hour to hug a cow. And what Craig Brown has taken a look at is a story of someone saying that when a visitor, Renee Behinfar, cried when Sammy the cow lay her head in her lap and fell asleep. Craig Brown says, I'd cry too if an 1,800-pound cow decided to catch 40 winks while plonked on top of me. Ms Benifar insists that hers were only tears of gratitude.
This is probably the appropriate time to put out the health and safety warning, which is if you see a cow today, do not hug it.
Well,
I think that's official. I'll check on the BBC's official...
Well, Craig Brown seems to have some issues with cows because he lives in Suffolk and he says that the cows there are standoffish or worse, stand-onish. And he says that they follow him, up to 50 cows at a time follow him in fields and are rather threatening. He also says that cats and dogs most huggable. He says children like to hug hamsters, but he's noticed that the hamsters seldom look as if they're enjoying it. Instead, they quiver with apprehension. After all, they're much smaller than children. It must be rather like being cornered by a bulldozer. Anyway, it tickled me. Can
I bring you shocking news from the world of pub snacks?
Well, I'm glad I'm sitting down if it's shocking.
So there's been a survey done of the best ever. Bearing in mind that pubs are shut at the moment and times change and tastes change, people are asked what the best ever pub snack is. Favourites.
I know. I think I know the answer.
Oh, what is the answer?
Scotch egg.
Nina, would you like to chip in here?
More than I've ever wanted to chip in. It's definitely a pickled egg.
Well, both of you, good. That's a very good choice, by the way. I like your choice.
You can't get them in enough places.
No,
There's a reason for that.
Can we come back in the room?
So
the results of the survey is the number one is pork scratchings.
Oh, really?
Pork scratchings number one in the survey, followed by, I'll give you the top 5. Pork scratchings, salted peanuts, dry roasted peanuts, peanuts doing well, salt and vinegar crisps, and then in 5th place, the humble, ready salted crisp.
But you misled both Nina and I because you implied that there were proper foodstuffs, not manufactured stuffs.
Hold on.
No, I'll take a crisp as a snack. That's fine.
If I go to further down the list, we come to the areas you're talking about. Number 11 in the list, Scotch egg, and then a pickled egg. Nina, for you, just 9% of those who took part in the survey, that's a pickled egg.
That 9%, they are my people.
Yeah, your people. There you go. Now you know.
I'll be thinking all morning about a pickled egg, a bag of crisps and half a cider. That is my dream.
Are you going to make the link now to what you're doing? Are you doing wedding?
Yeah,
I was going to say, was that on your menu, your wedding menu?
No, my
wedding
husband
breakfast
cooked
menu?
at my wedding, actually. He cooked for all of our guests, so it made what was already a stressful day even more stressful. I've been thinking this
Pickled
morning about
eggs?
my wedding and how it can be really stressful, can't it? So when there are variables added as well, it's very difficult for people.